What's going on, guys? Jamie with Gore Fiends back again. So in my last video, I did a quick unboxing of me getting the Undertaker, the 1988 film, and I showed you guys what it came packaged in from Vinegar Syndrome, who I ordered it from, and did a quick talk about of why I got it and what I was hoping for. I got to watch the film, and I also watched the audio commentary, and I checked out some of the bonus features, and I read the booklet, so I've been a little busy with it, and I've kind of honestly been obsessing over it. It was a really good film. I was expecting it to be good. I was expecting to like it. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I ended up liking it, though. A lot of likes. So anyways, I'm going to give you guys a few quick recap topics on it, show you guys something, go into a little more talking about it. So last video I said I wasn't sure how many units they made of it, and on the website it does say that it is limited edition, so there's 3,000 units being made of it. So definitely grab a copy. I can definitely say that before we even get into many things while it's still on the shelves. And let's see, it was $24.98 is what I paid for it. Cost me $6 to ship it, so maybe you can get it on a free shipping weekend or something. Again, I don't know if they'll do that. It was the second to last film that Joe Spinell did. It wasn't his final one. I thought it was, but after reading the booklet, it was actually his second to last one. And he was also in The Godfather, which I did see, and I just didn't even know that he was in it. He didn't have a huge role. And he was also in Maniac, which he was like the starring role, which I still haven't seen yet, but I definitely plan on grabbing that one. And he was in Rocky. He was Uncle Gazzo, I think was his name. Yeah. And I've seen Rocky a few times. I just didn't even put it together that it was Joe Spinell. And when I've seen Rocky, I guess I never checked the credits to see who he was. So there's all of that follow-up real quick. I want to show you guys, though, probably my favorite impression of Joe in this as Uncle Roscoe. So, let's see. Okay, sorry, I had to get out of my system. But that was just something I noticed when I was watching the film. There was a few different scenes where, Uncle Roscoe has on his suit jacket and he has on his nice white gloves, and as he goes for his victims, as he's like creeping on them, I guess you could say, in his car, and as he's walking around, things like that, he's just always breathing really heavy, and he's just kind of standing there. And I mean, after watching it and seeing, Joe was definitely a little bit overweight. And, I ended up finding out after listening to the commentary and reading more about him, and I watched a video on his life, which was pretty cool to listen to. It was like about a 50-minute video. I'll link that in my description here. He definitely was a smoker of different things, and got into some drugs and things like that later on in his career. And this was only about a year before he died. So it kind of makes sense that he was breathing heavy, maybe. I know that it was also for the creep factor. Maybe he was around too much formaldehyde, being, that he owned a funeral parlor. I don't know. But first thing in the film, you turn it on, you have your menu screen, which is another thing I could say about this film. I hope you're not offended by boobs if you're going to watch this movie, because there is a plenty of that in this film. And that's actually the home screen of the film. The main title screen is the girl standing there, and it's actually a scene from the movie, and a pretty decent kill scene, I guess, and you turn it on, you have all your features, different things like that you can go through, and then as you start to play the film, you get a kind of like a disclaimer message that pops up in the beginning, and I'm going to throw that up on the screen just for a second or two, and you can pause it if you really want to read it. It pretty much is just telling you, disclaimer, this is definitely the restored version, but in the movie, you are going to see a few clips that are pulled from a VHS copy that was just really crappy, and that's why you have some weird pictures in the film. And it's really not that horrible when you're watching the film. The only bad thing is there's actually a few pretty cool kill scenes that happen during these like VHS cuts that it flips in and out of. but the flipping between actually really isn't that bad. It doesn't pause for a long time or anything weird, but here's that disclaimer message. So like I said, you get that in the beginning, then it just resumes into the film. So I wanted to show you guys again, in case you haven't seen my last video yet, this is what it does come in, this little like cool coffin slip sleeve here, the Blu-ray DVD combo. It has like the blood mark and everything on the back. Really cool, really nice quality. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, when I saw it on the website, I just wanted to grab it for the fact that it had this slip sleeve I thought was pretty awesome, and I didn't even know anything about the film yet. Let's pull it back out of here again. Like I was saying in the last review as well, it does come with reversible cover art, and I checked out the back, and it is supposed to be the actual reversible cover art and everything. Let's see if I can get this. Here's the back of it here, of all the special features that you're going to get with it. The audio commentary track with William Kennedy was actually really cool. He was actually an actor, and he played one of the police officers with a really bad toupee. And he talks about that a little bit, and it's pretty funny just listening to him talk about it, reminisce. I didn't even put together that it was him, and it doesn't even sound like him when you listen to the commentary. It's kind of funny. But it was pretty cool to listen to. Interesting stuff. He talks about Joe a little bit. Like I said, Joe kind of was into a lot of things later in life, liked to drink a lot. Something I found out from that bio that I listened to about him, he used to love to like just help people out. Like he would see people on the street and he would just take them to go grab some pizza or something, and you know, he would be on set like really chill and just talking to people as if he wasn't about to go on act, and they would just call him, "Hey Joe, you're on this scene," and he would come waltzing in, you know, after smoking a cigarette and just hanging out with people. So seemed like a really cool, down-to-earth guy. It's a shame that he, you know, lost his life so young. And if you don't know, he ended up, from the story that I heard, there was like, I guess, a few different versions that went around. He ended up hitting his head when he was in the bathtub, and when he came out, you know, he didn't think that he needed to go get checked. His head was bleeding. He has that disease, can't remember the name of it right now, but where, you know, it's really hard for your body to clot blood. So he kind of just bled to death on his couch, and they found him there. And another cool tidbit, he had a replica like made of his head for a specific film where he got like decapitated or something, and that was actually sitting on top of his television set. So when the police walked in and like busted the door open to see if he was inside, because his friend had called the police, there was like his severed head was sitting on the TV, and they were just saying how he was probably looking down like laughing at that, because that would be something that Joe would find funny. And I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, I want to go out that way. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. With a severed head of myself around would be kind of cool. A fake severed head, of course. I really don't want to be decapitated when I go out. But, so I made some notes of the film when I was watching it. So it kind of starts out, the acting in the beginning really isn't that great. This girl's kind of like getting chased by this creeper dude, and he's on a motorcycle, and he gets her alone in the woods and is pretty much just like trying to get with her, I guess you could say. And then she runs away. She gets picked up by her, you know, knight in shining white glove, I guess you could say, Uncle Roscoe, in his car. And of course that doesn't end well. Pretty soon she's, you know, he pretty much just goes around and is always just on the hunt for bodies that he wants to, you know, kill these people and take them back to his parlor and do things with them and dress them up and lay them out in their caskets. And he's just really out there drawing up business, I think, as he says in one part of the film there. And you know, let's see, I got so she gets picked up by Joe. He ends up again, another note I have here, lots of boobs in this movie, so I hope you're not offended by that if you're gonna watch this. There's actually a pretty funny part too, where this girl, like, you know, she gets naked and then she puts on a robe and she literally walks like across the hallway, like maybe, I don't know, 15 feet or something like that, it looks like, and she just takes the robe back off and gets in the bathtub. And so it's kind of like, why did you even need to put a robe on? Was your house that cold? Like, you couldn't just run? I don't know. But you know, another note, he breathes really hard at a lot of scenes, and I thought that was just kind of funny, you know, and I know what they were going for there, and it also gave it kind of like that Michael Myers type of, you know, look where you like, he's behind his mask, so he's breathing heavy, but he has an excuse because he's behind a mask. This dude's just straight up out in the open, you know, he just has his stunner shades on and he's just doing his thing, but whatever. Spoiler alerts are definitely through this a lot, I guess you could say. So if you're, if you haven't watched the film fully yet and you want to, and you want me to give anything away, I would just suggest doing that before you finish this. But he does end up, gets his nephew, kills his wife, everything like that. So he's definitely a stone cold killer. But, in the beginning, his nephew is like, kind of cool with him, and then he like starts to just not really ever cool, I guess, because they do show a flashback of like him taking his nephew like into the parlor with him and like making him touch dead bodies. And it was a funny scene because you see all this stuff kind of like flapping around in this wind that they're inside of, and it's just like a room that they're in. And in the audio commentary, they say it was actually toilet paper. And so, like, when you're watching the film, you're just into it. You're like, oh, yeah, this is creepy. He has him touching dead bodies as, like, a 10-year-old kid. But you never really realize that just, like, it's, like, just toilet paper just flapping around there. And it's just kind of like, oh, wow, what an easy prop. What a $3 prop that they spent on a whole case of toilet paper for that scene. So I thought that was kind of funny. But, yeah, so he, his nephew kind of grew up around him. He's always been like this creepy funeral parlor uncle. His nephew's in college learning about necrophilia, and he starts to kind of piece together like, hey, my uncle Roscoe really isn't, everything he's cracked up to be, I don't think. And he tries to investigate. Of course, Roscoe gets mad. Oh, yeah, then there's this woman, Hazel, in the film, okay? And she's like Joe's right-hand woman, and it almost makes you think that like it's his wife or his mother, but she's actually just, I think they want it to be his sister. I don't know if they really ever come out flat and say that, but she kind of runs the parlor or helps him run it. And she's just really annoying the whole time, but she also plays that character really well. So it was just really funny. She's always like calling, hey, okay, Roscoe, okay, darling, being like really annoying and doing stuff. And there's just even this part where he's sitting there and he's doing like this paperwork and she's talking, and he like literally looks at the camera at one point. He's like, and it's almost like he is doing it for the character, but he's also doing it because if that was real life, he would be that annoyed too, which is pretty funny. So like I was saying, and like the disclaimer said, there are some weird visual things in this film. So you're going through it, it's really awesome picture. It really is for how bad the quality of the bootleg version looked. And like I said, you can find that on YouTube if you want to, and it's really garbage quality compared to this. Like, this is definitely extremely nice picture for what it was. The audio is great. I didn't have any issues hearing anything. And even during the scenes where it goes into the VHS super crappy quality, the audio is still pretty much on point. I really can't complain about that. I could hear everything fine. It wasn't grainy. It wasn't VHS quality by any means. So the audio is great throughout the whole film. There are those little pieces, and I even noted here, it's like an hour and 20 minutes into it, it's for like 45 seconds, it flips to this scene. Then it flips back to the restored version. Then it flips back again for like another 3 minutes. And I'm so glad that they flipped back, because there's actually, geez, let me see, did I write it down here? Yeah, there's like 5 killing scenes where there's just like these slashing scenes that he's doing, and I almost wish that they were in the restored version because you could be able to see them so much better. But they're really cool kill scenes, and it's just the one he kind of almost is replaying what he's seeing at the movie theater. And that's kind of what the story goes on, is he's always at this local movie theater, he's always watching this like satanic film about this dude who does these crazy rituals to these naked girls, and it's just funny because he starts playing along these crimes in real life, and the maintenance guy at the movie theater kind of catches on. He's like, this guy's always in here, these killings are happening, they're happening the same order of the movie. So he gets on to Joe, and in another scene they're in a car chase, and I just was cracking up during this car chase scene because it was filmed as if they never got permits or anything, which after listening to the commentary, a lot of the scenes were just kind of flat out, okay, let's just go do this. They didn't get permits for anything, they didn't ask permission. And so there's like this mini like tailgate scene where Joe leaves this like gas station area, and the maintenance guy from the theater sees him and is following him. And so he's like maybe a car length or two away. And you can just see like on this residential road, the actual cars come in, and you see like Uncle Roscoe make a left, and he wants to tailgate him, and I think for the film that he's like, oh, I need to stay close to him for this. I don't want this scene to be too drawn out, because it already is a little bit. And there's cars coming, and he just kind of cuts straight up in front of this car, and this dude had to either like stop or go around him. They don't really show that piece. But then he starts following him again, and it's just kind of like these funny cuts of him driving the car, like, yeah, I got this guy now, you know. So that was kind of funny. I just thought that was, you know, and this movie kind of had that. It had pieces of slasher film in it. It had pieces of comedy, no matter if it was supposed to be there or not. You get these kind of funny, quirky mid-'80s horror thing going on. So I thought that was pretty cool because I really like that stuff too. You know, and that's really it. That's what the movie's based on, I guess you could say. You know, and he, like I said, he ends up getting his nephew, and he gets, you know, a few other people, and it ends up showing in the beginning that he did get his wife, and that's where she's at, and he kind of has her all dressed up in this wedding gown. It's kind of weird, but there's definitely like a scene or two. I know the one scene where he's like having this battle back and forth with his nephew, and you can just tell that Joe is playing the character of Uncle Roscoe perfect. Kind of like this maniac-ish kind of dude who's just frazzled, has this parlor, is trying to do these killing deeds, wants people to leave him alone, just wants to do his thing. And you can also see the side of Joe that was in real life that I think his life was just on such a downfall with everything he was doing and was on at the time. And it's just him going all over the place. There's scenes in here where he's crying. There's scenes in here where he does these really creepy laughs. There's scenes in here where he says great things, and then also things where you're just kind of like, what? But I'm just still blown away from this movie. I'm going to go back and probably watch this another 2-3 times in this next, like, week or two, I would say. And Christmas weekend's coming up, and I'm going to be with my brothers, and I'm taking this with me, and I plan on all of us watching it, and I'm really curious to see what they say about it too. Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I definitely enjoyed it, and I would give it 2 thumbs up as a pickup. I'm glad it's in my collection. I'm definitely, like I said, going to watch it more, and yeah, I definitely believe you guys should pick it up and see what you think, or at least check out the bootleg version, I guess, if you're not going to buy it, or if the units are all sold out and you can't find it anywhere. But this was a great restoration of it. Thank you to everybody who put in the hard work for it, because this film's almost 30 years old and it never really got the traction. And it's a shame, too, that Joe passed away before he could see this film kind of get this cult following that it has now, or that it is getting. And, you know, I think that he was a great actor. And I'm sorry that in the last one I didn't know much about him, and now I know a lot more, and I feel bad because he was way bigger of an actor now in my eyes than I even thought that he really was when picking this film up. So thanks a lot for listening, guys. Pick this up, give me a like, and let me know what you thought of this video, and there's some more reviews coming, and I have some special toys in the mail which should be here in the next day or two, and I can't wait to unbox those and review them for you guys. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.